Hi, and welcome to this live webinar. My name is Jody Marquis, and I am the founder of Chance for Change Leadership Institute. And I promised you a 1-hour presentation on the biggest mistake leaders make that keeps them in struggle, disconnection, feeling unappreciated, defeated, and often burnt out. If you're here, it's because you're curious about what the answers are to help bring people out of that level of disconnection and into connection. And so I'm going to start this presentation by giving you a brief slide to look at. And as I'm reading through this slide, I just want you to think about brain development. And as I go through this presentation on what keeps people disconnected, what I want you to remember is oftentimes what we do is a result of what our brain tells us to do. It's not something that is in our conscious choice a lot of the time. So to keep this really simple, experiences that we have in our life inspire our belief systems. And our belief systems are what inspire our thoughts to happen. And our thoughts inspire our emotions, and our emotions inspire the judgments and the actions that we take in our lives. And then, of course, based on our judgments and our actions is going to equal the outcomes. And so for those of you who don't know my story, my life experiences were very traumatic at a young age, leading to thoughts of worthlessness and incapabilities that led me to engage in actions that actually created really negative outcomes in my life. I'm not going to go into my story today, but I want you to be thinking about your own life story as I go through this training, because we are all born into this world to be leaders. You may have heard differently. I often hear people say the term, you're a natural born leader, and I just don't believe that to be true. I have come to know over my 20 years of experience that we all have inner potential to lead, and how we do that might look different depending on who we are, but we all have the ability to do so. So again, our experiences inspire our beliefs, and our beliefs are what inspire our thoughts. Our thoughts are going to generate emotions, and our emotions are going to inspire our judgments, actions, and the outcomes in our life. Today's presentation is called The Triangle of Fear. It was co-created by Chance for Change Leadership Institute and the Center for Self-Sustaining Leadership, and I'm going to go over the three voices that live in our head that keep us on this triangle of fear. Questions and interactive sharing. Before I move on with the presentation, I wanted to give you a way to reflect. I don't know if you have this information yet or not. I'm hoping that it made it to you and that you found a way to get it from the sharing space. But if not, I am going to read through them, and you can take notes, or you can take your phone and capture this through a screenshot. So the questions that I want you to be able to answer as I'm going through the training are, what is your starting gate on the triangle of fear? And you'll know what that means when I introduce the three faces of fear to you. I want you to think about your family, your workplace, and your overall life, and just begin to wonder about where some of your thinking comes from. Give an example of yourself living in fear. And to keep it really simple, blaming, shaming, and complaining are really the fear triangle. So if you can think of just even from the morning of waking up, how you felt when you got out of bed, where your thoughts went. Were you angry about something? Were you feeling guilty about something? Were you complaining about something? Because this all connects to the faces of fear, and those thoughts are what are going to generate your emotions, and our emotions are certainly going to generate what we do. When you're in these fear, blaming, shaming, and complaining thoughts, ask yourself, what emotions am I experiencing when I'm on the triangle? Okay, and again, as I'm reading through the presentation, you'll be able to reflect on this deeper. What behaviors do you engage in when you are in fear thinking? Okay, and I can definitely name my blaming, shaming, and complaining thoughts. And know that they certainly, if I didn't have skills and tools to help shift that into a new way of thinking, I would definitely be reactive and causing problems in my own life. And then, of course, because this course is about how to look at a better way of connecting, what results do you generate in relationships with others when you're in the blame, shame, complain space, when you are in the triangle of fear? And where and when are you most often to be on this triangle, and why? So my hope is that as I go through this interactive training with you, that you can reflect on your thinking, on your relationships, because leading is not about being the boss. It's not about being in the head position and telling people what to do. Leading, we will talk about this at the end of the presentation, is really about relationships. And so the best place to start is always with you. And here we go. Voice number 1, we're going to talk about the fearful voice of the rescuer. And this is the voice of your codependent caretaker who means to do well for others, but does not often know how to take care of themselves. This voice tells us that we can fix things, and we believe that that's true, and that other people are not capable of doing things for themselves. This voice is the voice that will have you saying yes when you really want to say no. This is the voice that will convince you to spend your free time doing work and helping others. And then this will become your reason/excuse of why you can't spend time with yourself or your family. Rescuing others and solving their problems. When we don't believe other people are capable and we need to rescue other people, then we oftentimes are solving their problems for them. And without even knowing it, we are creating what's called learned victimhood. It could be as simple as you have children and they don't clean up their things. And you just say to yourself, it would be easier if I just do it myself. And you go ahead and do it for them. And then before long, they're going, Mom, Dad, why didn't you pick up my stuff for me? It's your fault that my room is a mess. Usually, when we're in our rescuing thinking, we are seeking to belong, deeply wanting to be loved and to be liked by others. We long for acceptance and approval. One of the other things that we will do as rescuers is avoid conflict. So I'm a recovering rescuer. I will share that with you, that when I learned about information that inspired this work, it made so much sense to me why I was tired all the time. And it also made sense to me why I got caught up in drama, because I didn't realize that I was avoiding conflict when I talked behind people's back. And that I was seeking approval through other people's agreement with that gossip. And so that's a big workplace behavior that I see in a lot of the organizations that I support, is people don't have the information and skills to talk with each other. And so there's a lot of the drama that gets created from that. And people are generally starting from a place of rescuing. The voice of the fearful victim. The voice of the victim, the culture of subjection and compliance. This is the voice that often brings the thought that says, it shouldn't be this way, or life isn't fair. I only wish someone would save me. I'm stuck. In this, I have no choice and there is no power. I believe that others run my show and I am never listened to anyway, and that's the way it is. I don't think there are any options for me when I'm in my victim thinking. I am trapped. I believe I can't stand up for myself. I believe I'm entitled to the time and energy and sympathy and help of other people. I want people to do things for me. I tell myself that I can't do things. I wait for people to feel bad for me, and I rely on their sympathy in order to get by in the day. If this is somebody's starting gate, then you may be feeling powerless a lot in your life. Oftentimes when I'm working in organizations, these are the employees that feel stuck in their jobs. I have no other way to make a living. I have to work here. I don't have a choice in this. My employer has all the power over me. They tell me what to do. I also in this say yes when I really mean no, but I don't want to rock the boat, so I will comply. The voice of the fearful persecutor. This is the voice of your tyrant bully. You know, the critical parent that comes out with that power over, I'm right and you're wrong. This is the voice that believes, I'm speaking to you, I'm asking you, and I, in my mind, am right and you are wrong. I need you to agree with me. Don't make an argument. I believe I have the right to judge you and dismiss you. I believe and insist that you see things my way. I get to set the rules and the standards, and you will obey. I will put you down, and I will punish you. I will shame you, and I will blame you. I hide my fear by using this power over method. I rely on you to not stand up to me, and I will hurt you without you knowing that I'm doing it. I do not see a need for me to change. I think you need to change. So the voice of the tyrant bully is oftentimes a very powerful temperament, somebody who thinks that their ideas are the best ideas. They often give a lot of directives and expect everybody to get it done and get it done in a timely manner. And oftentimes will get angry and frustrated when things are not going their way. It doesn't mean that people are always on the persecuting role, but there is a starting gate role called persecutor, and there are people that generate thoughts in their head that allow them to believe that they are right and others are wrong. And that doesn't make people bad. So none of this makes people right, wrong, or good, because that would be more blaming and shaming. It simply goes back to that brain development of our experiences create our belief systems, and our belief systems generate our thinking. And so whatever that story is that you grew up in, that is the story that you walk around in as an adult, unless you've been introduced and willing to take in new information, practice new skills, and change how you do things. And maybe you have. I know for me, back in the day, 20 years ago, before I knew about this and before I had skills, I was a very unhappy person, and I lived in a very unhappy life. Other people didn't know that about me because I had the ability to put on my smile, wear the veil, and not be my authentic self, because I didn't know who my authentic self was. Leadership for me expanded and grew and cultivated, and it was a very organic process over 20 years of healing. And so I am so grateful to be here and share this work, because I hope that it's going to give you a framework to help you get up every day and look at your thinking. So this is a self-knowing information and tool right now. And so we've gone through the 3 phases of fear: victim, persecute, and rescue. I've asked you to think about your starting gate, and I'm just going to say to you that if you can answer, with fruition, like, yep, I get up in the morning and I definitely see myself starting in one role and flipping around the triangle in different roles, thinking about different situations, different people, different places. The unintended results of this in your life are simply going to be that there's no listening, connecting, honesty. No one can take personal responsibility. There is definitely no courage, and you've absolutely dismantled trust, which is the fundamental foundation of the cake in building strong individual selves, families, teams, organizations, communities. And it basically is because on the triangle, you're blaming, you're shaming, and you're complaining. And as long as we're in that, we can't solve problems. And one of the biggest complaints I get from people seeking leadership training is, I can't get my team to listen. No one knows how to solve problems. They just come to me with all the problems and want me to fix them. And so the triangle helps us to see where we are in our role of keeping everybody stuck. Okay? So we're going to play a little game. I'm going to open up the chat room and I'm going to give it some time. And if everybody would like to just think about this, the biggest mistake that keeps leaders in struggle, disconnected, feeling unappreciated, defeated, and burnt out. This is what I said you were coming to, and now I want to know what you think the biggest mistake that leaders make are. And yeah, and so here's the answer. Let's see if you were right, okay? The biggest mistake that we make as leaders is leading ourselves and others from a place of fear, okay? And now I'm going to talk to you about some of the solutions, because I also promised that that was going to happen as well. Chance for Change is creating a new paradigm shift. It's called connection. And we are going to leave the old paradigm behind, the status quo behavior and thinking that's created a world of disconnect. Just look at the world, and it's not hard to see that we are all just fumbling to find connection with the physical world, ourselves, with others, with the spiritual world, and people are lost. I believe that if we work on ourselves, that we can definitely engage others. And so heart-centered leadership is about cultivating relationships. Yes, it starts with you. And then I'm going to say your family, because you know what? Our families take the brunt of our being on the triangle. And then it's our teams, our workplaces. Like, who do I work with? Our organizations and our communities. Relationships have to be about what fosters connection with each other. It builds the trust. If you don't have trust, then people are operating out of fear, which is the number one mistake that we're making in the world. Connection is a basic human need that we're all born with. You can't take it away. All of that's happening in the world right now is a lack of connection. When people do not know how to connect with other people in ways that get their needs met appropriately, they seek out connection where they will feel like they belong. And look at our world. Where are people connecting? What are the behaviors and the actions that are happening for people in our world right now? The status quo behavior and thinking that we currently have is based on old cultural conditioning, the stuff we were brought up in, and that is going to keep us disconnected. Okay, here we are. The 15-hour introductory self-sustaining leadership course offers the start of the solution. I have been evolving my leadership for 20 years, and I'm not going to tell you that in 15 hours I can give you everything that you want, need, or desire to become the leader that you are. What I can tell you is that this is an extraordinary introductory heart-centered leadership course, and it will change your life. It absolutely will change your mind about what it means to be a leader of yourself and a leader of others. This course is going to offer practical, obtainable, solution-oriented information, tools, and support that will foster great results, as I promised in your advertisement. And we're going to be doing that through the live training that we're offering in Vermont. We're going to be offering a live Zoom training so you can come in and experience the direct instruction and the group dialogues all through if you want to be at home, you can do that. And we also will have a supervised Facebook group where I let everybody in and we do a lot of sharing and coaching. And then, of course, if you want individual coaching, then you can buy a package and you can have that as well. But for $100, You're going to get all of the things that I just talked about. And these solutions are going to cultivate the ethnicity in each individual, leading to sustainable teams, businesses, and organizations. And to me, that's going to sustain communities, and communities are what sustain our states, and our states sustain our country, and then our country gives back to the world. And it's how we're all going to do our share and do our part in making global change. That's the big picture for me. Let me talk to you a little bit about the details in the course. So, self-sustaining leadership is a multi-dimensional mindset-focused course, and it's really about improving the relationships and the ability to make conscious choices. And I promised you that you were going to get one key thing that you could take away. So don't leave, because it's coming. I am going to give you something you can do starting when you're done with this webinar, that if you use it will begin to change your life immediately. So the three things that you would be learning about in this course are: know yourself, know your people, and be a catalyst for change. Most of the self-sustaining leadership introductory is about knowing yourself, because that's where the keys to connection are. It's not in other people. See, we live in a culture where we believe that other people's decisions are the dictator of our happiness. And it's the opposite. We actually have everything we need within us to be happy and to learn to lead from our hearts and engage people in change. Okay? These dimensions are always interacting with each other: knowing yourself, knowing people, and being a catalyst for ethical change. The self-sustaining leadership theory is having the moral courage to do the right thing for the right people at the right time, based on new self-knowing. So the better you know yourself, the more you can make change. And when you know better, you do better. Who could ask for more than that? Let's get into some details. Continuous improvement. There's a lot of text on the screens. I'm going to be reading the number text and then what you're actually getting in the 15 hours. So continuous improvement. We're going to be asking you to dig deep, change, and grow daily. If you are listening to this webinar thinking, oh, this stuff is boring, I don't get it, I have never had a student who is engaged in my course that has left going, yeah, that didn't matter for me. It's never happened. The only time people don't engage is if they're not ready to do inner work and they quit. So you do have to answer the question, do I want to be a heart-centered leader? Am I willing to dig deep? Am I willing to change? And am I willing to grow daily? Am I willing to meet myself where I am and use these resources to begin to move myself to where I want to be? You're going to learn how to use short-term goals and after-action reviews with an array of self-reflective activities with tools that come with them. It's all thought-provoking to help you get to the core of where you're trying to go. You're going to get to know yourself. The 15-hour course is going to teach you to define where you are in fear. You're going to learn about your operating beliefs. You're going to learn about your temperament style of learning. You're going to be introduced to the spirituality and wellness. You're going to master basic skills, build capacity for making conscious choices. Self-sustaining leadership we totally accept that everyone is a manager, a leader, and a lifelong learner, and we all require essential skills regardless of what profession that we're in. A 15-hour course is going to offer you a 4-step process for connecting with yourself and with others. It's going to help you to shift any limiting beliefs that you might be walking around in. And just to help you know what a limiting belief is, if on those starting gates you believed any of those things, then you have a limiting belief that you need to work on, because if the limiting belief is what's driving your reactions, then chances are you're creating disconnect with yourself first and with others. And you're going to be introduced to basic boundary setting, which is a skill that I have found predominantly lacking in the world. And it goes back to cultural conditioning. We were not taught appropriate boundaries as children. And therefore, as adults, we don't know what appropriate boundaries are or how to set them. And so this course is going to give you an introductory to that and some basic ways to get started with setting them. And last but not least, you're going to learn to grow that moral courage. And again, doing the right thing for the right people at the right time. This 15-hour course is going to introduce you to some original theory called the Fear to Love Spectrum. And it's going to give you a framework of where you can really look at where you are in fear, but also how to address where other people are in fear. Because as leaders, we got to know our people. Know yourself, know your people, and be a catalyst for ethical change. So when other people are not doing the right thing, the first thing we want to do is respond and react to that. A self-sustaining, heart-centered leader has skills where they can actually connect with people and help them to grow so that they can uncover their leadership potential and you can become stronger as a team. It's all going to come back to your ability as a leader to engage. And embracing emotions, that's just a word people hear and they think, oh, we have good emotions and bad emotions. This course is simply going to teach you one fact. Emotions are doorways to your needs. That's it. When you're having them, it's saying, hey, listen up. You're having an unmet need right now. And if you don't know what your unmet need is, then you're going to react to get your need met. And you're often going to be reacting from the fear triangle. And then you're going to create disconnect. So own and embrace emotions. We're going to do thought shifting, more walking through fear. And this one, we're going to really be working out that 4-step process that I'm talking about. Okay. So before I go into getting signed up and giving you the final takeaway and then moving into the chat, I just want to say I am so honored. I don't know if you know this, but this is my first live webinar, and I am taking a leap of faith today because technology and I have our own story, which is I suck at technology and I hate it and I'm never going to do it. And here I am doing it. And it has not been an easy, joyful ride, but I'm choosing to walk through my fear, learn new skills, and overcome barriers so that I can grow this program because the students that I have come in contact with for the last 15 years are saying self-sustaining leadership belongs in the world. So I hope you'll join me. This course is being offered at a very low amount of $100 a person. You can reserve your seat today. A lot of people are saying, like, why are you charging so little for 15 hours of this awesome course? And I'm going to tell you that, truthfully, it's about what I've already said. I want to build a trust with people. I want to give people an opportunity to invest in something and give themselves a chance and give me a chance without feeling like they're breaking the bank. And make an informed, conscious choice after day 2 if you want to continue with the program or not. Most of us spend $100 on clothes we didn't need or going out on the weekend. And so I really think it's going to be a good investment. If you believe you don't have the money, then ask yourself, why? Because investing in you, there is no dollar amount on that. But with that said, if you choose not to join, I am so grateful for your time today. You can leave this webinar with the information that you've been given and the key strategy that I'm going to give you. And you can come back and visit the website anytime and connect with me in other ways. I'm not going away, and I'm going to continue to do these free webinars. My goal right now is to find all the people who want to join this movement with me. It's going to be powerful, and I know that I can't do it alone. And so here is your final takeaway. You're going to look to the left. I'm going to give you a process that you can use today. You can begin to observe your thoughts and decide where you are on the triangle of fear. Make sure you're looking to the left so that you hear this. Think about rescue, persecute, and victim thinking, but don't react to anybody or anything when you're having thoughts. Simply observe yourself in it. There's going to be the thought and there's going to be emotions. Observe all of it and ask yourself, what is it that I need right now? You might not know. Remember, a need is not a want. What do you need is the question. Okay, it's a journey. Getting to know your needs is a journey. Can you meet the need on your own? Or do you need to ask another person if they are willing to meet the need with you? And now I'm going to read a scenario. This is a common scenario that I hear when I'm working with people, because we can't separate our, family from work. I mean, we are one person. Okay, so we have home lives, we have work lives, we have community lives, we have all these relationships. And this example is of a lady making dinner with her family. Jody made dinner for her family. Everyone enjoyed the food and the company. Jody's need to be appreciated and to connect with her family was met while she made the food and thought about how good it would taste for those she loved. Her need for connection when eating together brought feelings of joy and happiness, and when the meal was over, Jody observed herself picking up the table, putting the leftovers away, and cleaning up. Her family had moved to the living room area and were laughing at the TV show that was on. She began to have new thoughts of frustration and anger. Her voice began to say, "How unfair this is. No one appreciates my hard work, and they show me by going in the living room and leaving all the work for me." Has any of you ever had this scenario happen in your life? Okay, well, now we're going to shift it. The old paradigm of disconnection. In Jody's old way of thinking, Jody would either do the work while everyone continued to have fun and become resentful, or enter the living room yelling at people about how unfair and how ungrateful they are. But the new paradigm connection is noticing that there is a lot of tasks left in the kitchen. And when I hear everyone having fun while I'm doing the work, I begin to feel resentful. I want to know that you appreciate my hard work and that we are all working together. It would mean a lot to me if I could have your help to get the kitchen cleaned so we can all watch the movie together. Connection is about knowing yourself. Connection is about knowing you, and then asking others to come along. So observing your thoughts, which includes the emotions that come with them, asking what you need, and then requesting with love will get a better result. Change is always going to start with you. Heart-centered leadership is about you taking the step to make the connection. Thank you for your wonderful time here, and now we're going to open it up. If you want to join the course, you can go to chanceforchangeleadershipinstitute.com, click on the 15-hour self-sustaining leadership course, click the buy button, and I will see you on January 6th. I'm going to open up the chat room for questions and interactive shares, and I just want to bring you back. I had asked these questions of you earlier. And we will go ahead and I will take some chat and we will see what people have to say. And again, it's questions about the course, or you can interactively share things that you learned, or you can tell me about your workplace, your family, like why you're here. Whatever you're willing to share, I am open game and ready to have this conversation with you.